Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I am Baltmatrix. If you had told me a year ago that we would be getting a DEVCON figure in the Legacy line, I would have told you your butt is filled with Petra rabbits. The character appeared in one episode during Season 2 of the original series, specifically episode number 31, and it was titled The Gambler. I don't remember this episode at all, so when I went back and gave it a watch on YouTube, I gotta say, it's not great. Hell, DEVCON is only on screen for around 2 minutes of the episode's nearly 23-minute runtime. But I'll give credit where credit is due. The writers did a good job of flushing out DEVCON's backstory with just a few lines of dialogue, and John Stephenson did an impeccable job of voicing the lonely Autobot. Mr. Stephenson also plays Huffer, Windcharger, Thundercracker, Cup, DEVCON, obviously, and Alpha Trion, but I couldn't figure out exactly which episodes he played the Ancient Autobot in. He's also played a handful of humanoid characters in Generation 1, Dr. Alcazar in Roll For It, Bosch in The Gambler, Football Coach in Triple Takeover, Hector Ramirez in Prime Target, which has to be a reference to Geraldo Rivera, Professor Haley in Blaster Blues, and Winston in Make Tracks. Outside of the Transformers, he played Mr. Slate from the Flintstones, Doggy Daddy from Augie Doggy, Captain Murphy from C-Lab 2020, General Flag and Colonel Sharp from G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, and Professor X from Pride of the X-Men. I had to think about that one because I don't remember Pride of the X-Men at all. He's got dozens upon dozens of other voice credits to his name, so look him up on IMDb. The list is much too long to, list out here. If you're interested in watching The Gambler, I've got the video linked down in the description for your viewing pleasure. Starting with an up-close look at the figure, it looks absolutely fantastic, except for those giant holes at the bottom of the legs. I'm okay with that. The overall paint is just good. And man, is that head sculpt nice. Hands down, that is DEVCON. There's no mistaking that. And I love the little gun thing on the top of his head. You know, it's funny, after watching The Gambler, I really thought that this figure was going to be a retool of Scourge, given the thing on his head. But no, it's a retool of BLURR. Now, from the front, the figure looks great, but from the back, he's got a hell of a backpack. There's no getting around that. And that hole in the back, you could fit a Headmaster in there. Oh, I'm sorry, a Titan Master could fit back there, or at least stand back there. I'm okay with the backpack. I get it. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is a little bit ungainly. I would have loved if this panel could fold up a different way, but it doesn't. Oh well. Now in terms of play value, there is a 5mm port on each shoulder, on each forearm, on the bottom of each foot, on the back of each leg, obviously the fists, and then 2 on his back. And those 2 specifically are for the thruster accessories that he comes with. They are modeled in the same blue plastic, but painted red. And yeah, it kind of works. I can dig it. And everywhere I've seen always has his gun pegging onto a forearm. It's not handheld, it's pegs onto his forearm, which I kind of dig. I like that. Now, Evo Fusion mode is really stupid. Take the cannon or the gun, fold it around, and then you plug in the thrusters into the gun like that. And he's got the thruster cannon like that. Or if you want, you could flip the whole thing around and turn the thruster bits around and peg them in like that. That's not Evo Fusion. That's just a fan. That's not an official form. That's just plugging things in differently. Posability for our bot is almost the same as BLURR. The only thing that's missing is the fact that he can't really look up. Head is on a ball joint, though. It has a little bit of down, not much up. Then forward and back on the shoulders, in and out on a hinge at the elbow, and then swivel just above that. And then the fists do not articulate, but that's okay. Torso articulation is present. Then you can kick forward, and you can kick back, and you can kick all the way out. In fact, it could kind of go above 90 degrees. There is a thigh swivel, bend at the knee is at 90, and then the foot is the same as BLURR's, side to side on an ankle rocker, and then forward for the transformation. Overall, DEVCON's robot mode is very nice, except for the giant backpack. That's the only thing I don't like about the figure. Paint is good. The hand feel is good. It's just a solid deluxe class figure that I can wholly recommend just on the robot mode. DEVCON's transformation is very easy, at least compared to BLURR. It's a massively simplified version of BLURR's transformation. To start off with, push the fists down, and that'll open up this little compartment. Push it all the way back, and you can flip the fists around. And you do have to push it all the way back, because that gives you clearance on the wings. Close those up, come down to the feet, and combine the feet together, and smush them together, and then flip up the toes, and then come to the front shins and pop those shins open, point the arms out to the sides, and then flip those legs up into the body, and come to the backpack and just move the backpack out of the way so you can flip the shins back in and peg the backs of the heels into these backpack peg sections. Then drop the arms down, and there is a peg hole on the wrist that will peg into this little peg sticking off the sides there. Like that. Then take those thrusters and peg them into the little section we have here. Like so. Take the backpack, flip it up over the head, and there are these two slots on either side of the head that the backpack will peg into, and then flip the panel down and peg it into the chest. And finally, attach the gun underneath the front, and we're done. That's it. I think this alt mode is a good toy rendition of that original figure's alt mode. And I mean, come on, it was a spacefaring transformer that he just kind of fell forward and turned into a space flying thing. So this is at least that. It does have the little tiny wings on the sides. It's got the thrusters on the top. And then overall, it works pretty well. The only thing I don't like is this gap that is his tummy in, robot mode. I would have loved it if a piece folded out to cover up this section. That would give the alt mode much more cohesive look, so there's not a big section missing out of the middle. Now, having DEVCON next to BLURR, you would not guess that these are Mold brothers. You really wouldn't. It's actually kind of funny how much has changed on DEVCON versus BLURR. I mean, hell, the transformation is almost completely different. The only things that are the same is the backpack flips up to cover the head, and then those the bottom, or the robot legs, the lower legs, open up and flip up to form the back of the vehicle mode. Other than that, completely different transformation. In terms of play value, there is a lot more you can do with DEVCON than there is BLURR. He's got the 5mm ports all over the darn thing. He has the port on the bottom for the gun, and then the gun has ports on either side. Then the arm ports on the shoulder and the forearms are present. Then you've got the thrusters coming out the back of the vehicle mode, and then underneath the vehicle mode, you've got the heels as well. So you can do some fun things with this. I just am not in the mood right now to deco him up. Oh, who am I kidding? Let's just armor him up with everything we can find. It looks so silly. Equally in robot mode, you can armor him up with all types of different weapons and cool stuff, and he just looks absolutely silly, but I love him. I love him so much. It's just so fun. Now, other than the fact that these figures share a transformation, and they're apparently slight Mold brothers, what else is the same? Not much, according to my eyes. The only things that I've been able to determine are exactly the same are the thighs, the upper thighs, and the feet. That's it. Everything else on DEVCON appears to be new. Let me know down in the comments if I'm correct or not. Overall, I like DEVCON quite a bit. I think it's a good representation of that original Generation 1 figure whom we only saw once in the entire original show, and there are a few other instances of him getting a toy, but they were always convention exclusives. None of them were mainstream figures. That's not a bad thing, it's just the way things worked out. Would I recommend you pick this up? I think so, especially if you're interested in this character. It's the only official figure we've ever gotten of him, so there is that. I picked this figure up over at the Hasbro Pulse. Link is down in the description for that. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this figure down in the comments. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. As always, I have been Baltmatrix, and I will catch you all next time.